I'm Kyle Dixon,
I'm Michael Stein.
and we will be performing music from the first and second seasons of Stranger Things tonight. So, in addition to this show, we're also in a band called Survive. It's a four-piece electronic instrumental synth band. We released, I don't know, like
Five,
half a dozen
six.
things, 2 LPs. Working on the third now. We've been together for about almost 10 years, it seems like.
10 years.
Yeah.
2008.
Yeah. So we got involved in Stranger Things because the Duffer Brothers, the directors, had used the last song on the first Survive LP called Dirge. They used it in a trailer that they made, like a fake trailer. And once they got the show picked up by Netflix, they had to figure out who was going to compose the music. So they thought of us and asked us if we were interested. And, it didn't really take that long to say yes. I mean, in the first sentence, you see words like Winona Ryder, sci-fi, horror, like synth soundtrack. It's like, of course we want to do this. So we started pitching and wrote demos and stuff for about 6 weeks, and then eventually we got the green light and they said, you've got the job. We weren't sure at first, and we worked on it for like a pretty long time without telling anyone that we were working on it, because nobody knew what it was, so nobody knew what to expect, and we didn't want to explain it every time. And it ended up becoming this big phenomenon that I don't think anybody really expected. I certainly know that a lot of the networks that they were pitching to before Netflix didn't think so, because I think they got turned down by like 25 places before Netflix said they were going to do it, which I'm sure all those people are kicking themselves in the ass right now because they clearly made a bad choice.
I think it fell into the right network just because of the freedoms and the way that they got to work and explore their ideas and push it a little bit. I don't think it was standing there to tell them. They didn't have much experience to try to direct them on yes or no what to do with the show. So it's the reason why we're here as well.
Yeah, we got here last night, and we saw the Bulgarian women's choir, which was very great. I'm a big fan of Bulgarian music in general, so that was a really nice treat. I've never seen anything like that live. And we also saw Baba Zula, the Turkish band, which was great as well. I'm glad that we don't have to play after them, because
That was one of the best shows I've seen in a long time.
They had the crowd in the palm of their hand, and it was really entertaining. Yeah.
Well, one of my favorite things about the show was just the energy that they brought. He was talking about the crowd, how they pushed the crowd and kind of had people like interacting.
Yeah, they made everybody sit down at one point, which was awesome. They were kind of like
they got in the crowd and they were moving around, and people were like getting real excited. They also just it was nice to hear some of their views, political views, between songs, that they had like a message they were trying to get by. And I mean, they just had people dancing.
Sounds awesome. That drum sounds so cool. I don't know what that is, but I need to figure it out, because
it sounded like the dude had 13 hands. He's like these cool flams.
Yeah, it was really, really great.
It was amazing. Like, they're just really good. I never heard of them, but it was almost like I don't know, like 3/4 of the way through the show, I realized they didn't have a bass guitar.
Because there's just that much bass in the drums.
Yeah, the drums just like.
Yeah, it's cool.
Amazing. Just in it, everyone like just makes you move a certain way, because everyone's dancing.
I don't think that we have a strong message with this show, really. One thing that we did want to do with this show is stay true to kind of where we came from as musicians. Like, we come from a very experimental background, so that the show itself has a lot of that, a lot of ambience and textural elements that are kind of uncomfortable, and weird, and that all exists within the show. It's a big part of the score. It's not just the cute, happy stuff that makes the score. So we wanted to equally represent as much of that in the live show as possible. And we didn't, everyone would ask us, are you going to play clips from the episodes? And we didn't really want to do that. It didn't feel right because sitting there and just scoring like an entire episode would be kind of boring, I think. And it's just like you might as well watch the show at that point. So we kind of tried to reference, or Marcel MFO designed the lighting and everything. Um, he's sort of loosely referenced the title sequence with the red neon kind of thing. So it's like a very abstract nod to an element of the show, but it's we don't do anything like there's not going to be any demogorgons or anything coming out on stage or anything like that. But yeah, we just wanted to make sure that it felt like an experimental show because that's that's what we wanted.
There will be a third season for sure. That's been announced. And we have plans to be on it. At least for the next two, we're hoping, which might be the last of them. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think they've announced that they're doing 4 seasons. Um, at least I don't know if there'll be a fifth, but their plan all along was to do 4 seasons, and I can't imagine us not being involved in all of those at this point. We're definitely doing season 3, but I don't know about 4, but I'm assuming so.
Yeah, no. If there are more collaborations after that, that'd be great. We'll have to see. I'm sure the Duffers are excited to do something other than Stranger Things.
So Survive will definitely continue being a band. We're working on our next record right now. We've also got a lot of other projects coming up and in the works. At the moment, the only thing that we can really talk about is a VR short or a VR series. It's 3 episodes, like 13 minutes or so. So you wear the Oculus headset. It's about space and the universe in general. The first episode that we did premiered at Sundance this past year. It's directed by Eliza McNitt, narrated by Jessica Chastain, and we did the music obviously, and then Darren Aronofsky is executive producing it. So we're working on the second episode of that right now. Um, in between the touring, it's supposed to be premiering at Tribeca in New York in a couple of weeks. Um, can't really say who narrates that one yet because it hasn't been announced, but it's a pretty exciting person. So we'll be doing those 3 episodes, and there's some other stuff around that's pretty cool. I mean, if you get, I don't know if you ever thought that you would get to go through a black hole, but I certainly didn't. It's kind of interesting in that space.
Yeah.
Um,
So I mean, I think we've always wanted to, and we're just interested in not even just us, but the whole group doing things from like individual artists, small projects to full feature films, and just trying to do as much of that from here on forward without stopping doing survive the band and traditional records and
Yeah, I mean,
stuff.
ultimately, Stranger Things has allowed us to be able to do music for a living, and that's really all I care about doing is music for a living in any way that I can, whether it's playing live shows, putting out albums, producing with other people, writing for other people, doing film scores.
Yeah.
It's all totally on the table.
Yeah, it's just things we've done now. We just have an outlet, so
It's
it's really great.
funny how many people will return our calls now that they wouldn't have a couple of years ago. I guess the most or the next thing that we've got going on is Survive is releasing an exclusive vinyl for Record Store Day, which I guess is April 21st. It's kind of we wanted to so when we play Survive songs live, over the years they've kind of evolved from what was on the album. A lot of times the first take that we would record of a song is what ended up on the album for whatever reason, just because of how we'd patch everything up or just the performance was better.
There's a different performance and production quality to the live show and the experience as well. So
Right, so we wanted to capture the live show because it's a little bit more aggressive in certain ways, and the songs have just they're slightly different when we play them live, and we always kind of wanted to do like a Peel Sessions type recording, so that's essentially what we did. We went into a studio in LA and just recorded our live set, and then that's what's coming out for Record Store Day.
because even though I guess we transitioned from being a studio band to going out and performing as a band, and then being like, oh, we are a synth band. Well, now we're gonna go in the studio like a band for the first time and make a record that way, which is, I guess, pretty different than a lot of the way electronic artists work, even us. So it's a cool experience, and I think it's captured fairly well.
I think it sounds great.
Sounds really good.
Yeah, I mean it's a limited issue thing, so I think there's only 1,000 of them. So it'll probably sell out pretty quickly and then be expensive on Discogs. So if you care to have one, you should probably jump on that.